Magic, the darkest magic. My soul swims in it, scattered across time.
Welcome to the 2018 Demon Bag Halloween Spooktacular. Blah, blah, blah.
I'm your first host, Jeffy Kruger.
And I'm the host from hell, Drew the Ripper.
This is your host with the most, Night of the Living Ed.
This is Ryan, the Restless Wanderer. Ink Spirit.
Needs work.
The Sixth Demon Bag, back from the grave.
It's time to trick or treat. Ed, would you grab the Halloween edition of the Six Demon Bag? And as is tradition, you're going to pull out a piece of candy and you're going to pull out a topping.
I got a popcorn ball because I've never had one.
He got the popcorn ball.
Whoa,
I never had a popcorn ball.
Until tonight.
Worst costume to make a sexy version of? You know what? That's an easy answer for me because we saw them at Comic-Con. And then now I saw that there's a sexy version of it, and it's the Handmaidens.
Oh, yeah. Sexy
worst.
Yeah,
handmaid.
you can't do
It's
that.
the very
you
worst.
can't do that.
Yeah,
Who
because they're
came up with that?
called Jezebels.
Who came up with that? That's the worst idea I've ever
Well, I
heard.
mean, they're kind of sexy in the series. Does anybody else know?
Not yet. The sexy Groot.
Sorry, I'm opening my
Sexy
popcorn
Groot?
ball.
No, I think a tree creature could definitely. I mean,
Sexy Groot would be strange.
I've seen some fantasy
if it was
art
like
that,
a man version
I'd go
of
with a
Groot.
sexy
Oh, I
Groot.
guess
Sure.
that would be sexy for lots of people.
But how would you make it look like someone's not doing poison ivy, though?
I maintain sexy burn victim is a bad look.
Sexy Freddy Krueger is
But we've
also...
seen a lot
Yeah.
of sexy Freddy Krueger costumes.
they turn me on.
Here's the other thing about Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger it's implied that he's a child molester.
Yeah.
There's nothing sexy about a burned child molester, even if it's a female. I'm going to set the scene for you now. If there was a strip club and they had a Halloween night and there was a sexy Freddy Krueger lady dancing, she should dance to Hot for Teacher.
I'm pretty sure Ryan and I saw some
There were some
Freddy
sexy Freddy
strippers
Kruegers at Universal.
Universal Halloween Horror
I
Nights.
still am aroused.
What about Ed? What about a sexy Bubba from Night of the Scarecrow?
Bubba Hotep.
Bubba didn't do it. Ugh.
Bubba didn't do it.
Like with the sack on her head, but the
Sack.
Daisy Dukes.
And the overalls, pretty bad, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that wouldn't be so great. I don't know though, Daisy Dukes.
Now that you mention it, I don't think
Bubba Dukes?
sexy Jason. Do you think sexy Jason would work? Or,
Oh,
it would
yeah.
just be a hockey mask with like a
Just a
tardy
hot chick in a
dress.
in a hockey
Yeah.
mask. I said cocky mask, so I guess you know what I feel about it.
I mean, I guess one thing is, how would you get, like, say, a sexy Jabba to work?
Yeah, that's funny.
Sexy Hut.
Jabba the Hutt with like a dude in a bikini, like waiting on her. That's funny. I don't think it's hot, but it's funny.
It's definitely something.
So do you think that sexy rat would work?
What about a sexy Splinter?
I mean,
He's got all that wisdom, which
That
makes him
kimono?
sexy.
Yeah, it's about her mind. It's about Splinter's mind.
wisdom is very sexy.
The secret is in the ooze. Impossible costume. A costume you have always wanted, but never got, or think is too hard.
I want to do a Marvel Jack Russell Werewolf by Night costume, and I think it would be impossible.
Why would it be impossible?
Because it's got to be a muscle suit, because he's a superhero, so he's muscular.
Right,
And it also has to be covered completely in fur,
right.
and the Wolfman face has to be, like, articulate, so I think it would have to be a makeup job.
Yep. Not impossible.
I don't think... I couldn't do it, personally.
We can help you.
Yeah, I
We
keep
have the
We
hearing
have
that.
the technology. We can build it. One of my impossibles is Ghost Rider.
Yeah,
The
a flaming skull.
And over the years, I've sort of sketched out different designs for it and ways it could work, like with Dayglow skull makeup, and then those mini black lights that I would put in the collar, and get stage fire, which is just like red and orange gels, and like get a little micro fan and also
blow
put
it
it in
up,
the collar
yeah,
to
so it's
blow it
flaming.
up. But man, to try to pull off a flaming skull, and then right
You
around
and me
the
could go. We'd be 70s Marvel characters. It'd be awesome. Like Werewolf by Night and
I guess what you could do,
Ghost
they wouldn't
Rider.
be animate, but you could put like a plastic, like flexible plastic around and just paint flames on it, so that like you would see flames around your head.
what about
they
those?
wouldn't be like, I mean, it would be something.
it would be there's a couple things you can do to do something. Like they sell masks that just have like a latex flame on your head.
Yeah.
You remember those Doctor Strange projectors we saw at Comic-Con where you could make his
Yeah.
things appear? What if you had those on
Those
your
things that
shoulders?
whip around.
Yeah, just if you had it around your shoulder like a collar that projected flames up your head and everything.
You would need like 4 of them. They're these little LED bars that spin so
Yeah.
fast that the
You would lose your ears for sure.
I think I know what you're talking about.
yeah.
You could have something that shoots mist up around your head, and then perhaps project a hologram onto the mist.
I don't know if
Yeah.
that would work. But
I mean, it's a huge technical challenge, and for me, that's kind of up there as like the pinnacle of the impossible costume.
Once they get flexible OLED screens are like the norm, then boom, done.
Right.
You got it.
I guess flexible OLED screens would
Or
take
whatever
care
they are.
of my costume that I thought was impossible. We know who this person is because we grew up in the 80s, but there was a TV show called Automan.
I knew you were going to say that for some reason. Yeah, man, that'd be a cool costume.
All you would need for Automan, and this is beyond my skill, but I've seen costumes like it, is the EL wire. It's this flexible glowing wire that you can sew into things. If you look at pictures of Burning Man and any kind of EDM festival, you'll see a lot of people make some really cool outfits.
What does
I-
EDM stand for?
Electronic dance music. I'm
Oh,
assuming.
okay.
I think I saw something similar when I was at Anime Expo. I went to the AX dance, and there was a guy that they called Gloku because, he's dressed like a Super Saiyan. He's got his hair wig on, and it's glowing. And throughout his costume, he has, like, the light-up strings that you're talking about,
Yeah.
where it looks like it's not just a light bright, but it's like you could actually see like the energy crawl go
Wow.
up. And he even has his like little spirit bomb where it goes into like the little ball he has in his hand as he's dancing on the dance floor.
And so they also have EL panels. So I think a talented enough person could make a good Automan costume. In fact, if you're going to a blacklight party, because it's like that neon kind of vivid blue overlay, you might be able to get away with it just with
Like some kind of marker. yeah.
UV reactive paint squares.
Proven that 3 storms is fairly impossible, at least for
Yeah,
us.
I thought of saying 3 storms
I
actually
feel
when this
at
question
this
came up.
point that Green Ranger is next to impossible.
Oh no!
Since
Yeah.
No,
I've
you're
been
almost
working
done,
on
aren't
it
you?
For 5 years at this point.
But I mean, it
not
looks
all the way
good.
through, but
What you have so far is fantastic.
Yeah, it looks good. It can be
Yeah.
done.
You've got the
It could be
hardest
done.
part,
It
I
could be
feel.
done.
The helmet must have been the hardest part.
I guess so. And
Just have my wife so she could do it.
yeah, she's got the surgery. For a long time, I've wanted to make the Wise Man from Labyrinth, and he has a hat which is a talking bird. And I think in order to do that for a movie, you have puppeteers on like all off camera that can make it move and make its mouth move and stuff. For a walk around costume, I could like potentially program it with like an Arduino or something, but I don't think I am capable of that. I mean, maybe you can like Google certain codes and stuff. I might be able to make just the mouth open and close with like a bike brake or something.
Like in your hand?
Yeah, might be worth it giving it a whirl. I guess I'm gonna spin that topic off into our Delusion trip.
All right.
We got
Side bag.
Side bag. We got a little bit of a late start on Halloween this year in that we didn't do our first activity until October 6th. Anyways, we went to Delusion, which is this interactive horror play. This year it was more of a sci-fi play. But you go through and you walk through all these rooms and there's actors and they tell you, oh, well, the missing piece of the thing is here. And we were like with some Nazis and shit. We were like traveling through time. And at
Was
one
it good?
point, it was cool. It was very expensive and the tickets sell out really, really fast. But at one point we got to read some Japanese in order to solve a puzzle, which listeners will know is something we've been working on.
Did you do it? Did it work?
A nice surprise. Well, yeah. I mean, it was actually, we didn't have to be able to read it in order to solve the puzzle, but we could, which was satisfying.
It was on a time-traveling sex robot's neck. Long story. Spoilers for Delusion, the Blue Blade. And I think we know what the Blue Blade is now.
An ED's time-traveling sex robot's neck.
Sorry, just to give some context to the listener and our friends on the couch here. There was this bizarre subplot about this time-traveling Nazi woman who...
That was the A-plot.
Okay, the A-plot was the time-traveling Nazi woman. The B-plot was she had this robotic companion but lamented that it couldn't have sex.
It wasn't able to procreate.
And it just...
Why did I not go to this?
Because tickets were $100 and sold out months in advance.
We
well,
would
tell
not
me,
have been able to coordinate.
tell me months in advance.
Me and Jeff coordinated our purchase date, and before I could even finalize my purchase, the time slot we had chosen sold out.
Because we were on the mailing list.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've been waiting for over a year for tickets to come around. It was a thing. Anyway, this robot couldn't have sex with this Nazi.
He seemed like a nice guy, so maybe it was like a moral issue.
Yeah, maybe he just he just didn't agree with her politics. But at a certain point, we ended up in this Mayan jungle scene, and there was this time traveling agent who was like crouched in front of a fire, and she welcomed us like to come to the fire in this little jungle alcove, and like in the flickering light behind her we could see this huge wall-size Aztec mural, and it was like this like giant figure carved into the stone. It was really cool. And she was like, oh, thank God you're here. We need to get the scroll and we're gonna put it in the moonlight and decipher these symbols. And at a certain point Uta, another time-traveling Nazi woman, jumped out and grabbed Ryan and
got a shock. Got a little bit of a shock.
And threatened to inject him with a hypodermic needle. And Ryan was way too happy to be manhandled by this female Nazi.
Get manhandled by Nazis so infrequently. It's like, it's just it's a thrill.
And
was this like an Ilsa She-Wolf of the SS kind of Nazi?
It was a 100% Ilsa situation.
But
all I had to do was scream, Ed.
But little did we know that giant Aztec mural was a costume.
Oh, wow.
So the whole thing came to life, and this dude like plowed through the wall as this like 11-foot tall, just huge Aztec stone golem. And then he started smacking Nazis, and they were on wires, and so they were flying across the room.
Yeah, he punched Uta so hard she flew into the darkness.
Wow.
And disappeared forever.
And broke Ryan's heart.
Oh.
Yep.
You could have changed her.
I felt that at the Falcon Punch was
you probably could have changed
salve
her.
on the wound.
It was a mighty Falcon Punch.
I know I can save you! Physically and from your Nazism?
Spiritually. Ideologically.
I can procreate. I got the
Abba-Zaba.
Abba-Zaba
Abba-Zaba,
Don't need
you my only
no
friend.
Abba-Zaba.
chewy taffy with a peanut butter center. Does anyone want
I
this
specifically
Abba-Zaba?
bought Abba-Zaba once because of Half Baked. I wanted to see what they tasted like.
And did
no,
you
I'm
like
gonna
it?
pull my own
It's
candy.
a Tom Waits song.
pull
I'll
my
try
own
it. I like
Alright.
peanut butter. What else is it?
It's chewy
It's like
taffy,
taffy,
with a
like
peanut butter
vanilla
center.
taffy or
I
something.
don't like taffy. But
Ed
I'll
will
try
eat it. Ed'll-
Give me that. He'll eat anything.
Hey,
and
Eddie, he likes it.
Does it crunch loudly?
Oh, I reversed those.
don't
Strike that. Reverse it.
Ooh, it's white.
ooh,
No, it's taffy, dipshit.
I didn't
It's
expect
squishy.
that.
You're gonna be chewing on it for 3 hours.
I didn't
like
expect
that
that.
popcorn ball.
You sure there's peanut butter in it?
Oh yeah.
look, I only know what
Or
the
at
label
least a
says.
peanut butter-
I don't know if I've ever had an
peanut butter
Abba-Zaba
equivalent.
that I did for you.
It's like sweet, sweet cock.
Next topic.
Not that kind of cock. Not Boston cock. I mean, like caulking cock.
So,
Describe the sweet white cock some more, Ed.
how does it feel sliding
Boy,
down the back of your
I
throat?
won't do you that favor.
Oh,
Ed
sorry.
really will eat anything. He
Yeah.
really is on a mission to eat everything.
And I support it.
yeah, I celebrate you. This topic is called Death Curse World.
It's got a death curse.
I think there was a scene or two in Game of Thrones where, like someone puts a death curse on these people, like the Starks, and then eventually one of the Starks has to kill one of their allies, and as he's about to behead the ally puts a death curse on like Robb Stark, and it's just like, it was just one of those weird situations where like, if you could put a death curse on someone and everyone knew, like, there'd just be all these conflicting, compounding death curses it would be this like perpetual cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you could call doom upon someone and then they got killed by the doom you put upon them, and then as they're dying they put a curse on you or your family.
It's a
It
different
would just
story
be like
when you know it works.
Hatfields and McCoys.
It sounds like rural Italy.
Yeah. So like just this kind of setting where everyone who dies, if they die badly enough or want it badly enough, could lay some kind of death curse. Just how would that change history? How would that change society?
Like as they die, or like if they're caught unawares and they don't have a chance to lay down a death curse, you get away with it?
No
or?
one in power would ever remain alive for long.
Yeah, because
only the peasants.
somebody
and
would be disgruntled.
The inconsequential people
So
would be.
one of the things I thought about was, in a world where there are death curses laid by people who are in extreme pain or anger or grievance, would be that no one would want to make enemies, but also no one would want to tend to the dying. So like there'd be no good Samaritans. If someone like fell and broke their leg, you would just walk away.
Well, then you'd get a death curse on
Yeah,
you.
wouldn't the person with the broken leg curse you as you walked away? Then?
Well, but
do they have to know your name?
You'd run away. like
So it's like in China when they hit somebody with the car and then they back them over.
yeah, like you're better. Yeah,
Does that really happen?
It's in some video I watched, something
man.
about, because in China, if you cause an accident and hurt somebody, you're responsible for that person's medical bills for the rest of their life.
Jesus.
So then there was a thing that like people would hit somebody with a car, and if they didn't kill them, they'd run them over again to make sure, because they didn't want to pay for their bills the rest of their lives. That's something I read. I don't know if it's true.
One of the things I love is that when they excavate baths and like springs in
Oh, they get
in
those little
Italy,
curse things. Yeah, yeah,
they're
Lead
just
tablets
Yeah, just like
and full
thousands of
curses.
curse tablets.
yeah.
And like
Because
lead
when you
with
started
things
talking about
and-
that, I thought of that scene in Rome where you remember Rome from
Yeah.
HBO, where she
Yeah,
like, at the of the Julii, I call for justice, over and over again. Yeah.
It would be amazing if you could actually get justice on people. Like, although
you could,
I'm sure you could.
but of course,
Just like in the real world, you could get some justice that wasn't deserved and
yeah.
falsely accuse people and all that shit.
And if someone has dementia and they're just like, I curse my mailman. It's like, what the
I think your story might be that, though, or a story in this world might be someone gets the death curse put upon them and then has to go on this crazy adventure to undo it.
They would
before it
probably
takes
have to
effect.
go to, like you said, if there's no afterworld, how do they undo it, though? Yeah.
I don't know. That's
part of the fun and the quandary is that there is no undoing these things. Because if you have a guy
then you have no story.
who has
What if you could pass it on to
who
somebody
has a
else?
spell
Yeah,
or a
then you're
hex,
just the ring,
or if you have these
Deflect
guys
it.
that like
it
are
follows.
curse busters, then it just becomes a fairly simple like anime style run of the mill story.
Those are the most popular.
What if you could disguise somebody as yourself
Oh,
and cause the death curse to affect them instead of you or something?
yeah, oh wow.
Painting blood over your doorway.
Just something. I don't know how, but like...
Yeah.
What if your death curse... Okay, explore that thought.
I one of the things I was thinking about, like, well, you're gonna want to have some like weird rogue mercenary who agrees to take a death curse on himself because he's so slippery and lucky,
He feels like he can beat it.
and he feels like he can beat like your average run of the mill death curse. But I was like, yeah, I don't know how that would, if that would work. It might. I mean, if someone is like, well, I'm starving now, I'll take my chances with some random villager's death curse, but.
Here's what I'm thinking.
But putting on a mask of an enemy
Yeah.
and then going and like shanking someone.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm thinking, what if your death curses manifest themselves as your Jasons and your Michael Myerses is? If they somehow imprint into those
I
people.
would think there would be like a lesser death curse would be like a revenant, where the person wants to come back for revenge, whereas the more sophisticated evolution of it would be a death curse on my clan's enemies. You know, where they sort of game the system and they raise people within their clan to wield their death curse, you know, kind of like how in certain traditions, you know, you write a death poem. You know that when you die,
It's got a death verse.
nice.
It's my turn. The bag! Oh, it has me! Oh, did you fall for it? The old man eating 6 demon bag
Did you just
joke.
flick me off in British?
I have pulled lemon heads. I mean, I like them, but it's not what I'm craving. I
Don't
need a
look in that
Snickers.
bag.
I need a
get what
Snickers
you
to
get.
be really satisfied.
Whoa, there's Snickers in there?
No.
Not this year.
Any more Abba-Zabas?
And the topic I have pulled is trick-or-treating stories.
I told that one about how I got kissed in a bar last year, right?
That was an
yes,
amazing
you
story.
did. Yes, you did. Again, I'm still aroused.
1 year, it had been raining and it was really cold. It was the type of year in New England where you have to put on like a heavy winter jacket over your costume,
No, never.
which just totally
Yeah, it really ruins everything.
fucks up your whole look.
I always put it under my costume.
But I remember one of the guys in our trick-or-treating crew was Mike, and we were going to a neighborhood that had some long driveways, and there was a house with a long driveway on a hill. You know, they had a little bit of incline to their yard, and it had been like raining and raining and raining, and I think the rain finally cleared up. And that's important to know because my friends and I went up the driveway, and Mike decided to cut across the lawn to like beat us to the front step. And he did not realize that the sunken portion of their lawn had just become a lake. And it was just like knee-high, freezing cold, brackish water. And I remember, because it was pitch black, and he was running, and then all of a sudden he was just gone. Just bloosh. And then he stands up, and he is soaking wet. His costume is drenched.
What
His
was his
bag
costume?
of candy
What was his costume?
Well, it was all wet after that.
But what was he? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
I remember him standing up, holding his pillow sack full of now
His
wet
what?
pillow sack,
Oh.
full of now wet ruined candy, throwing back his head and going, "Fuck!"
My plastic pumpkin would have floated on that lake.
It was one of the funniest, purest expressions of emotion I've ever seen.
I got rained on so many Halloween nights in New England. I remember it raining more than not raining. There was one Halloween where we went to my mom's friends and they had like gone crazy and really decorated up their yard. And the husband was dressed like a werewolf. So the wife was like, "Oh, the candy's over there by the giant spider web." And like we walked over there and then suddenly like this werewolf came out at us, like growling. And I guess we must have known that it was the husband, but still we were young enough to just sort of believe that it might be a real werewolf. That was really cool. But I remember the first year I worked at Trails of Terror, as mentioned in last year's podcast, we were 15, 8th grade, me and my friend Mike, and we decided not to work on Halloween night because we wanted to go trick-or-treating. And so we went to this like really rich suburban area where he knew they gave out like full-size bars. And one of the but we had learned from Trails of Terror, so like we like put the latex on our faces and we're like all bloody and like cool and we like really did it up. And one of the first houses we went to, the lady went, "Aren't you a little old for trick-or-treating?" And I never went trick-or-treating again after that. I think we even packed it in after that. It was so sad.
Treat shaming.
Yeah.
Bad.
One year I went as Darth Vader, and being like hardcore, I also did up my face underneath the mask as unmasked Darth Vader. So I had like black rings under my eyes, and I did my entire face in what do you call it, grease paint and everything. And the end of the night, we went to my aunt's house, and she had just got a new pit bull. And so I'm sitting down, whatever, with my candy and stuff. I took my mask off, and the dog, for whatever reason, took to the grease paint and pinned me to the floor entirely because I don't know how old I was. I was in grade school. And
Edge trick-or-treats are all very molesty in one way or another.
yeah, this dog licked all the grease paint off, licked my face entirely clean. Like all the makeup I had on was completely gone.
I want to look upon you with my own eyes.
Yeah. The dog wanted to lick me with its own tongue.
Did it give you a flashback of the drunken guy in the bar?
I think that happened after, so no. Premonitions, though.
Yeah, gave him a
The
flash
other
forward.
one gave me flashbacks to the pit bull.
Do you remember being a kid and knowing, without deliberation, exactly what your costume was going to be for that year, like a month or two in advance? I remember walking with my mom in the grocery store, like at least a month before Halloween, and going, Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
Done. And then I was Dracula that year.
Yeah,
I feel like I did.
I feel like kids at certain ages just have a fixation. In any given month or two, they're fixated on a certain book or game or monster.
My kids, all year long. My kids, November 1st, they're planning their costume for next year. You know? And they go through every year. It's like they're trying to decide what they're going to be when they grow up, you know? So it's like they
string the LEDs?
change their mind like 8 million times and everything.
I want to be an environmental lawyer.
This year we're doing Halloween on a Disney cruise ship.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So,
Can I come?
Well, so all the kids, the kids are like,
You want to go
He
on a
hasn't
Disney
said no
cruise
yet.
for Halloween?
yeah, I haven't said no yet. Because one of the kids might drop out. No, the kids,
I'll take his ticket.
Tickets to transfer.
I'll walk on my knees like Dorf.
Dorf
kids
on
are
golf.
all like, we're all excited to go on this thing and everything until they found out it was on Halloween because there are strictures to what you can wear on the ship, you know, because you can't wear a full over, like, mask constantly.
You
Only
can't-
for pictures.
You can't
Why?
mix.
I don't know.
You can't mix wool and lens.
It's like a
Your bars have to be
thing, yeah.
parallel to the ground.
You have to
parallel
have 4
to the
knots
deck.
hanging off your costume. No, yeah, there's all these strictures to the costume. You can't have any kind of weapons. You can't have any kind of mock whatever. It's because you're basically like on kind of like on an airliner, you know. So it's like whatever you can't wear on a
Yeah,
public
basically.
transportation, you can't wear on a cruise ship.
The worst airliner in history, like that Sully one.
But they're gonna have this big like Halloween ball, and the kids were going nuts because like they couldn't wear masks. You know, the kids like Noli was devastated. She was just like, "What am I gonna wear? I can't be this. I can't be that."
Full
and
face
then she
paint?
found out her mom, like Sandra, decided I'm not making costumes this year.
Nice.
So
Why?
Because
Too busy?
it's too much work. She's like, I just don't, because usually she stays up till the night
my God.
before, and like right before they go trick or treating, she's still doing finishing touches. You know, so like
Sandra's making costumes for Ryan.
Yeah,
costumes
Elliot.
For Mark,
Elliot, yeah.
costumes for Elliot.
Me.
Costumes for Ed.
But that's why she never dresses up during the year. She doesn't have time.
He's exhausted.
But yeah, so they were devastated that they couldn't get a homemade costume out of my wife and everything this year. So the kids are just going as pirates. We went to the Burbank store and got like
Look
pirate
at me.
costumes. And
Look at me. I am the captain now.
yeah, that kind of pirate.
Adorable.
And then
let me take a picture.
Noli, we convinced to. We got her some custom jobs. She's going to be Judy Hopps from Zootopia. You see Zootopia?
Yeah, I did actually.
Okay, the bunny cop.
Sure, she's kind of sexy bunny
Whoa, dude!
for a Disney movie.
For the listeners, Ryan's wife is looking at him
She's second guessing everything.
with a
the
practiced
last 3 years.
and disgusted look.
Yeah. Anyway, so not a sexy Judy.
She's
Hopps,
confident.
just a Judy
She
Hopps.
she takes charge. What?
She doesn't wear pants. All the things you want out of a woman.
She's at least halfway furry.
She's got that fluffy tail sticking out the back of her pants. Yeah, no, my daughter is going to be Judy
I
Hopps.
regret everything.
And so I don't know how that's going to go. We'll see how it goes. So I'll report from that when I get back.
Awesome.
Side bag.
Yeah.
Lemon heads do not mix well with Blue Moon.
Oh, really?
You'd think so after our candy/beer tasting
Oh,
at the
gross.
Don't they put lemons
Library
in
Ale
lemons?
House.
It was like a year or two ago. Ryan and I went to the Library
Trick-or-treating.
Ale House on Main Street, and we decided to grab a bite to eat, and they had a Halloween beer and candy pairing. And I was like, oh, that's going to be awful. And Ryan was like, one beer and candy
Sign me
pairing,
up.
please. And so Ryan just was stuck eating all this candy and drinking like all these different beers.
It was
and, like,
awful and wonderful in equal measure.
it's bad enough to mix a bunch of beers, but to mix a bunch of beers and candies,
Like your childhood and your adulthood colliding.
Perfect metaphor.
proving
And
that
they honestly-
his adulthood never
Yeah.
quite stood a chance.
No.
Well, we heard the Judy Hopps reaction.
It didn't.
Yeah.
Hops.
Yeah.
Malted hops.
And in that same bar, I remember I was wearing my Rick and Morty costume, which is just the
lab coat.
the lab coat with the big foam Rick head, because it was sort of a
It was Halloween night.
It was Halloween night. And I remember walking through the bar and a bunch of people kind of drinking their beers or eating burgers, watching a football game, looking at me and just like, what are you wearing? And I was like,
Judging with
"Fuck
their eyes.
you. It is Halloween night. Fuck you for not wearing a costume.
Oh, they
Don't
weren't
look at
wearing any
me."
costume.
No, they were being
No
very
one.
judgy, though.
No one was wearing a costume. But they were looking at
I mean,
me.
granted, it was like 6 p.m. or something, but still,
Yeah.
not allowed.
Last year and this year, there's been some very heavy, serious, awful shit going on in my life, which touches everyone's life on occasion. But in the midst of thinking about Halloween, celebrating Halloween, putting up gravestones in my yard, watching scary movies, or even writing scary stories, I sort of feel conflicted because there's like real terror and real despair. And I kind of wonder, like, is this what Halloween is kind of, have we kind of lost touch with what Halloween is about? Which is winter is coming. We're about to be living off whatever we harvested in the fall. The night is long and full of terrors, to quote Game of Thrones, and how do you appease this fear and mortality and things like that. I mean, these are what these ancient traditions are about.
Well, from my perspective, yeah, even like latching on to your personal real life horror, I think it's still pretty important to keep some fun in life, because it's too, as with everything, it's too crushing to just be focusing on this tragedy constantly and trying to be serious as a result of it. Like, gotta let loose every now and again.
Well, you can also that, yes, and you can also recontextualize, because if you go to the Hollywood Forever Cemetery for Dia de los Muertos, there are families that are picnicking at the graves of their loved ones, and it is very much a celebration of the memory of the people that they've lost, and it's so much more poignant and beautiful to me. Like, it's Halloween plus tradition, plus family, plus pride. I mean, Dia de los Muertos is amazing, and it's actually kind of getting bigger every year. There's more celebrations, and if you go into like a Spirit Halloween store, half of it is now sort of influenced by Day of the Dead decorations.
Yeah, at least 50% of costumes, female costumes especially, are Day of the Dead face paint.
They've cracked the code. I mean, it's timeless, it's elegant, it's...
We go to Olvera Street every year now for Dia de los Muertos, for the blessings and all that stuff. And it's pretty great. It's fun.
Oh, where's my invite for that, Ed?
You can come anytime, dude. You know when it is. It's on a public calendar.
November 1st? Is that when that is?
November 1st and 2nd.
Me and Jeff are always
year.
way too hungover to go to Day of the Dead.
But I think...
It's actually the weekend after, usually. Yeah,
so
you don't have that
the veil
excuse.
has thickened.
Yeah,
at that point. It's
the veil between worlds has thickened.
Got a Hershey's milk chocolate, which is awesome.
Damn it, that would have satisfied.
Cleanse the palate of that Abba-Zaba, that sweet cock. Monster survival plans.
All right, so I've got a separate bag prepared.
Oh, shit.
Oh, I get to pick the monster?
For the monster survival plans.
A while back, we started talking about zombie survival plans, and we went on a gun tangent, so it's time to bring this back from the dead. Sometimes the topics come back again.
Sometimes dead is better. So, Ed, I have prepared a side bag full of classic monster scenarios from film and literature. You're going to pick one, and we're going to talk about how you would survive.
Cool.
Not necessarily how you'd thrive.
Yeah.
But let's see what Ed would do.
Side bag. Are we watching Walking Dead this year?
Side bag, I don't think we are.
Sad bag.
Giant little funny mammals. This is so weird because I was just thinking, I hope I get Night of the Lepus.
That's it, Night of the Lepus.
It's weird. I was
Wow, Ed
literally
pulled-
The veil is thinning.
Please let it be Night of the Lepus.
What happened that night science made its greatest mistake? What unknown terror was born that night? What is the terrifying mu-tant that strikes from behind the shroud of night? That night. That night of the Lepus.
Night of the Hops.
Yeah.
All right, Ed.
Sexy Lepus.
So you find yourself in a small town overrun with giant killer
Lepi.
rabbits. What do you do?
Well, rabbits burrow, so the basement is no good.
They can hop, so the roof is no good.
Yeah, the attic's not really
shit.
any good either.
They can crush models with impunity.
Hiding out in a Lionel Twain set's no good.
No Lionel Twain set.
Shit. Giant rabbits. Well,
22? For starters.
no, because they're giant, so it's got to be a 30-06 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. You need a wind mag.
Moose shot.
Those beasts down.
See, this is the thing. I think you're pretty safe with... I know, despite what was portrayed in Night of the Lepus, I think you're pretty safe because they're...
Don't you think Night of the Lepus is canonical
Celery?
for this Night of the Lepus scenario?
Why did the Lepus attack people? Because the people effed with them, so you leave the rabbits alone. But see, then there's the other thing, is the rabbits are going to multiply, and they're going to overtake
Oh, yeah.
the
No,
town.
yeah.
So you got to enact some population control fast, or you're going to be overrun. Which means... you gotta poison the lettuce, dude. You gotta poison the gardens and things.
Yeah.
And-
You can feed them celery, and maybe they'll choke to death.
Well, you just gotta use poison, like by the truckload.
Poison celery.
You maybe get a crop duster and just dust all the
Just
like,
release Ed on them.
Yeah.
So go Kingdom of the Spiders style. Crop dust them with poison. Scorched earth. Burn the fields and
Take
and
off
poison
and
the
nuke
wells.
the entire site from wherever.
You know what? I don't think any measure is going to be good enough. They're just, I mean, there are still rabbits. They're going
There
to
are
just
Rabbits
keep
are pretty
multiplying.
still
ridiculous.
rabbits,
They're
but-
hard to get rid of regular rabbits.
Maybe if they're giant, it's easier to root them out. And
If you get to water, I think you're probably good.
They
Giant
don't
rabbits
swim.
aren't going to.
they would quickly
Yeah,
destroy all infrastructure by
Yes.
tunneling under the cities.
It would be bad, but I think you could.
So what if you blew a dam and flooded the town and got all the rabbits that way?
No?
You'd have to isolate them.
You'd also have to be in a town.
You'd,
that had
you'd
a
have
dam.
to, yeah, you'd have to get out ahead of it. And
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's that quick.
Yeah, I think
what was the
fleeing-
top speed of those lepuses?
What's the top speed of a regular rabbit?
We've clocked the Lepus at 35 miles per hour.
They were able to chase trucks down. So
All right.
I would say
So-
like 60 to 80 miles
Yeah.
an hour, right? Because these are like pickup trucks.
How did they
and
do it
stuff.
in the movie?
They just unloaded on them with guns. They shot the
Yeah.
hell out of them.
All right.
That's my plan.
There you go.
Yeah,
Good plan.
shotguns and stuff.
Luckily, this is
Oh
America.
no! You know what they did? They electrified the rails of the train and then herded the rabbits to the electrified rail and electrocuted them. all.
The rabbits,
That's how they
the
got rid of
Lepi allowed themselves to be herded?
Well, with guns. You know, they shot at them and stuff, and then they herded them
Pretty
on the
clever.
until they electrocuted them. So
Okay,
Would that
barring
be your plan,
that.
or
I probably wouldn't think of that, honestly.
I don't think
do you
you'd
know
be
how
able
to electrify
yeah.
a rail?
No, I don't know how to do that.
How did they do it in the movie?
I'd have to watch it again. I'm sure they
Lightning.
they had
Dry
the power
lightning.
company guy do it. The power company did it.
Oh, yeah.
Like they organized the town. The sheriff was there. Everybody
the
was there.
power company gave them a 12-hour window.
Yeah.
They said, all right, we could be out there to electrify these rails between...
Should we just take guns out of the mix? Because everything
No,
can
to
be
make it
solved with
interesting.
guns.
Damn right. Now at last you understand.
The gun is the ultimate
American way.
In
superpower.
Trump's America.
I mean, some of these are supernatural threats, so we shall see. But
We have seen that guns cannot take out every
that's
supernatural
true.
threat.
And Night of the Lepus is a rural, town-wide phenomenon,
Yeah, where everybody
so you
has.
can't take the guns out.
Yeah, they got the
Yeah,
guns.
you're right. You're right.
And with that, we close this first candy-laden bag of the Six Demon Bag 2018 Halloween Spooktacular. And we'll spook you next time.
That's my Renfield.
Yeah, we know. You did that last year, too.
Did it?
It was wonderful.
Urkel by Renfield.
Meh.